Hey guys, okay, that's weird. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm gonna do a reaction video. So, on, the real truth about Dowyne Dowyne what? Haskins and the Steelers. Here we go.
There seems to be a lot of optimism surrounding Dwayne Haskins getting his career back on track in Pittsburgh under the guidance of Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin. But it's time to hit the brakes. Haskins has found himself back in the headlines after Roethlisberger gave him some praise to the media, saying that his mechanics are some of the prettiest things I've ever seen. But his skill has never really been in question. Nobody has ever questioned his impression.
Okay, that is actually true. No one has ever questioned that. So, yeah, I don't know.
Mechanics, though. Coming out of college, the strengths of his game was his strong arm and ability to throw from different angles. The reason he was such a high draft prospect was his raw talent, mechanics. At Ohio State, Haskins didn't play under center much. He wasn't asked to make a lot of deep throws. He had less than optimal footwork, and he only had a single year of experience. His raw mechanics have always been...
Yeah, Dwayne Haskins has been, like, dominant over his college football years, so... Why not? Why not go for the NFL?
Great. It's just been him not being able to put it all together. Haskins flamed out in Washington in part because of a lack of work ethic and off-the-field issues, but that wasn't it. The reality is that Haskins wasn't good. At some point, people must stop thinking of Haskins as a former first-round pick and look at him as a player. He has a great deep ball, and when it hits, it's beautiful, but it usually misses. He completed just 60.1% of his passes in 2 years in Washington. Lamar Jackson only completed 58.2% of his passes as a rookie. He was a bad passer, but he was able to succeed on the field, mainly because of his mobility and ability to extend plays with his legs. Haskins is more than likely faster than Roethlisberger at this point in his career, but he's still slow. Haskins hasn't been a good passer, and he's not an elite athlete in the slightest. If you're enjoying, help us on our way to 100K by subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell notification so you never miss an upload. Haskins signed an $850,000 deal with the Steelers, none of which is guaranteed. It's a realistic possibility that he doesn't even make the final roster. Pittsburgh carried 3 quarterbacks out of training camp last season, with Ben Roethlisberger leading the way. He's going to have to beat out Mason Rudolph in a quarterback competition to be the backup. Rudolph has been with the Steelers for 3 years and is 5-4 as the starter. Rudolph is still the likely backup, but the third string spot is somewhat up for grabs between Haskins and Josh Dobbs. 3 of his 4 seasons in the pros have been in Pittsburgh, but he's never started a game. Dobbs signed a 1-year contract this offseason worth just over $1 million with $50,000 guaranteed. Haskins is the only Steelers quarterback without guaranteed money. The signing of Haskins is a long shot, that is, low risk, high reward. If he comes into camp and impresses Mike Tomlin and shows promise, you keep him. And best case, he could become the future quarterback once Roethlisberger retires. If he sucks and he isn't putting in the hard work, you cut.
Sorry guys, hang on.
Cut him. Plain and simple. So I root for Washington, if you guys didn't know already. I live in Virginia, and I even covered the Redskins in 2019 during their training camp. So I saw the Haskins era in Washington from beginning to end, unfortunately. Dwayne Haskins was a dumpster fire in Washington from the second he got there. I think everything that could have happened that went poorly happened. He started off with a lame duck coach in Jay Gruden, who no one really expected to be there the next year, and then the next year he ends up in a system with a coach that didn't draft him, nor did he really want him. Haskins was
Well, that
handpicked
sucks.
by Dan Snyder, the owner, and that's always going to be a recipe for disaster. Washington cutting Haskins was the right idea. Ron Rivera was trying to build a culture, he was trying to move on, and Ron Rivera was coming in and trying to put his own system in place. But that doesn't mean it was a bad idea for the Steelers to sign Haskins. In fact, I think it was a great idea. It was a low-risk, high-reward thing, and while I don't expect Dowyne Haskins to work out, why not take a shot on a guy that did have a ton of potential coming out of college? By no means do you need this guy to actually succeed. You already had Ben Roethlisberger. Mason Rudolph you seem pretty good with at the backup position. He's been fine when he has come in at times. All this was really just buying a lottery ticket, seeing if Dowyne Haskins can all of a sudden turn into something. And if he does for the Steelers, that's fantastic. This move from start to finish for the Pittsburgh Steelers, from the Pittsburgh Steelers' point of view, is a great move. It's very, very smart. That being said, it seems like the fandom and even some of the media has this idea that Dowyne Haskins may be the future in Pittsburgh, and I really think that we need to calm it down, especially somebody that's...
Okay, that's actually true. If Dowyne Haskins becomes the starting quarterback to the Steelers, my friend's gonna freak out about this, so... My friend's a Steelers fan, so... What do you expect? Go Cards!
Saw him in Washington and saw all
these
faults. We need to cool it, and we need to allow Dowyne Haskins to A, try to develop, and B, not put so much pressure on the guy. He was a high draft pick. He didn't work out. We need to start over on our view of Dowyne Haskins. He didn't work out as a high draft pick. He's now with a new team. It's time to reevaluate who Dowyne Haskins is. Dowyne Haskins still has a ton of raw talent. He's a very, very talented guy, and even at training camp when I saw it, or if you watched him in Washington, you saw these plays where you just see what his arm can do. He makes an incredible throw, very powerful throw, he hits a guy deep, and you just sit back and watch, and you're like, wow, I mean, that is a beautiful ball. I mean, when he can put a perfect ball where he wants to put it, it is one of the best sights, and you can tell how absolutely raw talented he is. The problem is that his accuracy struggled a lot of which I think was because of his footwork. He didn't do a great job of setting his feet at most times, and when he was throwing off balance, he was always inaccurate. That was far from the root of the problems, though. I think a lot of the issues was maybe he didn't know the playbook great, especially under Ron Rivera. His actual last play with Washington before he got released, he had a wide open, I believe, Cam Sims, literally right in front of him that would have been a first down on a third down, and he just didn't see him. His pocket presence wasn't very good. He didn't do a very good job reading out defenses, and while I'm going to give the guy a...
Vaping made my anxiety worse.
Stupid freaking commercials!
In that sad place.
Sorry, guys. There's always ads here.
A break because he was in his second year in the league. He's still young. Dowyne Haskins is younger than Joe Burrow, who is already going to be coming into his second year, and seems to have a lot of faith behind him, even though he barely played as a rookie and tore his ACL. Dowyne Haskins is going to need a lot of time to actually develop into a pro quarterback if that's what the Steelers want him to be, and we need to kind of just forget about Dowyne Haskins in a way and see what can happen. Right now, though, I think their main question is where he actually fits on the Pittsburgh Steelers. You obviously have Ben Roethlisberger, there's no doubt about that. You know he's your starter. Maybe it's only for another year. Who knows when Big Ben's actually going to retire, but that's going to be something that you're going to have to monitor because they do need a quarterback for the future. I think Mason Rudolph is going to be easily the number 2 guy in Pittsburgh. He already has experience. He knows the system. It just logically makes sense for them to hold on him and him to be the backup, and that leaves the opening third quarterback spot, which is going to be between Josh Dobbs and obviously Dowyne Haskins. Now, Dobbs, I grew up a Tennessee fan, so I know a lot about Josh Dobbs, and he was pretty good. He was with the Steelers for a while, got traded to Jacksonville, and then signed with the Steelers, so he's back.
Okay, I actually got to admit this. These guys are pretty good, but I'm a Cardinals fan, and my favorite player on the Arizona Cardinals is Larry Fitzgerald, and Larry, he's a legend to my Cardinals.
In Pittsburgh, he does also already know the system, which is going to be a huge leg up on Dowyne Haskins. While Dobbs doesn't have a whole lot of guaranteed money at only $50K, he still has some guaranteed money. You can tell that the Steelers obviously have more faith in these other guys. Obviously, Big Ben, Mason Rudolph's actually making a pretty good amount of money, and even Josh Dobbs has more money guaranteed than Dowyne Haskins. The NFL is a weird thing where you can't really listen to the coaches, you can't really listen to the front office, because a lot of what they're trying to say is deception, trying to get people to think a different way. So usually the rule of thumb, to me at least, is to zone in and say, you know, what are they doing? Not what are they telling us. Don't listen to what the NFL team's telling us. What is the NFL team doing? And in my mind, that's giving Mason Rudolph money, re-signing Big Ben, giving even Josh Dobbs some guaranteed money, and he's going to be making over $1 million while Dwayne Haskins only makes $850K. What the Pittsburgh Steelers are telling us with their actual moves is that they're literally just grabbing a lottery ticket and seeing Dwayne Haskins. If he comes into camp and he plays well, you keep him, and you never know what he could actually turn into. He's literally a lottery ticket. But if he completely phases out, he isn't good, he can't even beat out Josh Dobbs in a competition, you cut him. It's that simple, and that's why it's a good move. The reality is that Dwayne Haskins isn't actually going to solve any problems for the Pittsburgh Steelers with their quarterback situation. Ben Roethlisberger probably already has one foot out the door. I personally thought he was going to retire last year. Obviously, he's back for another one, but who really knows what's going to happen with his future? He clearly wants another ring, and the Steelers have a great team around him. Steelers fans seem to somewhat already be looking towards the future at this point, and with good reason. Big Ben is a little bit older, so it makes sense of why you're talking about who you think your future quarterback is going to be, and I don't think that's Dwayne Haskins. I think the Steelers actually need to go and take a quarterback next year. I would have been all for them taking a quarterback in this past draft. Like, if Justin Fields hypothetically would have fallen all the way to him with their picks instead of taking Najee Harris. Now, I don't think anybody fell into their lap to make any...
Yeah, that's actually kind of weird. How did the Steelers get Najee Harris? That's shocking to me. My friend was like so shocked that he got Najee Harris. That is shocking to me.
Sense to actually take a quarterback in this last draft, and that's fine. It just didn't work.
Not again.
Hold me back.
Sorry, guys. It's commercials, sorry.
Out. But I think it would have made perfect sense to bring in a guy, if that would have happened, to go and sit behind Ben Roethlisberger. I'd be personally surprised if the Steelers don't take a quarterback at the 2022 NFL Draft. Even if Big Ben doesn't retire this offseason, it makes sense. You want to get this guy in the system, and you want to see if you can actually have a guy for the future. Because once Big Ben leaves, you're going to have a huge hole at quarterback that you haven't had since 2004. And while I think they may have thought that Mason Rudolph was the answer, from what I've seen from him, I don't believe he is. And Dwayne Haskins, well, unless he completely changes his work ethic, his attitude, and everything, he's not it either. Dwayne Haskins was a disaster in Washington, and now that he's in Pittsburgh, we need to halt the brakes on people thinking that he's the future of the Steelers. At the end of the day, if you take away his high draft position, he's a quarterback that got cut less than 2 years into the league, and he was a mess on and off the field. Thanks for watching. Please help us on our way to 100K by subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell notification so you never miss an upload. Once we hit 100K, we're going to be giving away an NFL jersey of your choice. To enter the giveaway, follow us on Instagram.
Alrighty, guys. I'm gonna go now, so bye.